And we've certainly done things with Faith in Place with markets, and we're involved in another interfaith Green Partners group that I recognize a lot of familiar faces here today from that. But just wanted to take a minute to thank you for coming. It's really nice to see so many people out on kind of such a less than ideal day. But I think Brian also then had some words he wanted to say as well. So thank you for being here.
So Reverend Brian Souter, I'm the Executive Director of Faith in Place, based out of our Chicago office. And just very delighted, a couple of years ago I met a volunteer by the name of Dan Huncha. And Dan said to me, why isn't there a Faith in Place presence in the suburbs? Why aren't we organizing the suburb churches to work together to take care of our common home? And I said, that sounds like a great idea, Dan. Let's make that happen. And we started on a journey together to get to a point where we were investing resources right here in the suburbs to get an office location going. And today is that day. So welcome to the Suburbs office of Faith in Place. Faith in Place has offices, 4 offices now across the state. One is located in Waukegan, Illinois, where we're organizing the faith communities of Lake County. One in Chicago, where we're working through all the neighborhoods of Chicago, working with the faith communities. Down in Champaign-Urbana, where the University of Illinois is, working all across central Illinois, from Champaign to Springfield to Peoria, even up to the Quad Cities, and now here in the north and west suburbs of Illinois, of Chicago, here working to organize the faith community. We work with mosques, we work with synagogues, we work with temples, we work with Unitarians, we work with Protestant churches, Catholic churches. If you are a community of faith gathering on a weekly basis, our organizers will work with you, and we work to start a green team. We have, and I'm proud to announce, 101 active green teams with Faith in Place that are currently meeting and working with Faith in Place organizers to implement programs on behalf of environmental justice all throughout the state. What does that mean? A green team is a committed group of people, minimum of 5 people at a distinct house of worship. So again, this can be a church, a mosque, a synagogue, just a gathering, who are partnering and exploring ways to implement Faith in Place's programs over time. So a green team, that means we have 101 active committees of people at 101 distinct houses of worship working together to implement Faith in Place's programs, energy and climate change programs, water preservation programs, sustainable food and land use programs, and advocacy programs as well, to make sure that we are advancing the cause, growing a movement of a faith-based environmental justice movement. We have a vision by 2022 to have 6 active offices in Illinois, working with the faith community with 250 active green teams. Can you imagine the impact we can have as people of faith working and advancing the cause of caring for our common home together? 250 green teams working. So that is what we are building towards. We are just delighted about this momentous occasion of getting the office established here. If you haven't seen where Dan sits and where he's at, go check out his office, snoop around. That is what we're paying for right there, and then you can bring your green team right here. I don't know if Dan will have treats like this every time you come. Welcome to come and to make things happen. And I can't say a few words. I'm a preacher, so we got a few more minutes. So in 60 seconds, listen, a faith-based environmental movement just looks different than the regular environmental movement. As a faith-based environmental movement, what we are doing is connecting the dots between social justice and environmental justice. So our programs are zeroed in on this aspect of justice. When we do energy and climate change, we are focusing on reducing air pollution. We are focusing on reducing asthma rates in communities. We are focused on doing this work on behalf of our neighbors who live right here. When we work on water preservation, we are focused on reducing basement floodings in communities that are economically challenged and suffer disproportionately from basement flooding across the state. When we work on sustainable food and land use, we are fighting to increase access to local food, fighting to overcome the barriers of access to open space, to make sure that this is shared equally around. And the faith-based aspect of that is so important. So I want you to be really proud that you're part of this movement that we're growing that's unique and championed and even troubling the water of the environmental movement. We are teaching the other environmental partners as we work as people of faith that justice is the root of everything that we do. And that applies across our faith traditions. That's the moral aspect, whether we're Unitarian, whether we're Muslim, whether we're Jewish, whether we're Christian. This is what we share in common. So that common base is connecting the dots between environmental justice, mass incarceration, systemic racism, violence in our communities. We got to get over this, and this is me preaching a little bit, we got to get over this notion that our social justice committees and our faith communities are different than our green teams. Our green teams need to be working arm in arm with our social justice committees, connecting those dots. When we work with our legislators, like Representative Elaine Necris when she was in the legislature, to pass a Future Energy Jobs Act. We're growing solar jobs, wind jobs, energy efficiency jobs, but as people of faith, we are saying we want to make sure those jobs are accessible to environmental justice communities. We want to make sure those jobs are accessible for people coming out of prison. We can curb climate change while reducing recidivism rates. That's what Faith in Place is all about. That's where we're growing as a movement in the future, and that's what all of you are a part of, and what all of you are helping make possible by getting to the point where we're launching this office here in the North and West Suburbs. So, are we excited? Excited? This is really exciting. This is a movement growing. Now, to grow a movement, we need champions in elected offices, elected officials who know and understand how to help and work with us to champion this cause. We have Commissioner Deborah Shore with us today. Deborah Shore is a commissioner on the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District. They work with all of our water here in Cook County with our stormwater system. They know all about it. They navigate the infrastructure to do that. Deborah Shore, when she was first on WMWRD, she began to champion we can take care of our water from an environmental lens, and we are so appreciative of not only of all of her work, but her being here today. So give her a big round of applause.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Dan. Thanks all of you for coming out today. It's great to be here with you. I am Deborah Shore, and many years ago I was in meetings in Evanston. I'm a member of a synagogue called Sukkot Shalom, a congregation in Wilmette, and meeting with Steve Perkins and others in an endeavor called the Interreligious Sustainability Project, which I think evolved into Faith in Place. And still today engage in periodic habitat restoration, faith-based days in the forest preserves. And I've been an active volunteer for many years doing habitat restoration. In fact, my path to public office started in our public spaces in the forest preserves. And water and habitat, they don't know political boundaries. They don't know boundaries of race or class or gender or political party or even athletic affiliations. They cross all boundaries, and that gives us an opportunity to make common cause with our neighbors, our human neighbors, but also all those creatures with which we share habitat and that also deserve fresh water and clean air. And that's one of the things that I find so compelling about the work of Faith in Place and the communities that are involved. Talking with Gail a little while ago, she said she was amazed at the overlap and convergences of so many different groups, and I don't think we should be surprised. It's called the web of life that we're about. And so I like the opportunity to cross those artificial boundaries and to work together on behalf of what Pope Francis calls our common home, because it needs us and we need to do this work, and we are the proxies for nature, which can't stand up at the zoning commission hearings or others and say, remember me, I deserve habitat and clean air and clean water too. So I'm here to thank you and to keep doing the work with you, and so excited about having this new home in the Northwest Suburbs.
So now we have what everybody's been waiting for, the ribbon cutting ceremony.
Yeah.
So the tape has failed. So I need two friends to hold this, one on each side.
I will volunteer.
Okay, so one here, one there. I need to go around.
Okay.
If only we had a big pair of scissors or something.
If only we had a So, I say that I'm here today because I stand on the shoulders of giants. The yellow ribbon here today represents my grandparents. Some of my family might chuckle because they know that this was given to me like a couple decades ago by my grandpa with a huge spool. And my grandparents and my parents, who some of them are here today, they took me out into nature a lot and had me fall in love with nature and all the little critters of the sea. And for that, I didn't know the seeds that they were planting in me, wanting me to take care of not only the animals, but then later I saw how people were affected. And then I really wanted to up the ante and get involved because I saw people, like people standing here today, were affected. So there's one big ribbon, but many small ones, because I think that many people are responsible for opening the office today. And I want to recognize many of you that are here today. So first of all, I want to recognize Brian, because he had the vision in our 5-year plan back in the day to open the office out here. So I'd like Brian to cut one ribbon, and I'm going to hold it up so you don't cut them all. So Brian, thank you so much for having the vision. I cut it up. Go ahead.
All right, we ready?
Yep.
That sounds good.
And I want to recognize some of my family members that are here today, that they gave me much love and support over the years. So my dad and stepmom are here. Could you guys cut a ribbon?
I'd be delighted.
You can hold that together.
No fingers or anything?
Not mine. You guys can both hold it and cut away.
Whoa.
Thank you. Yeah, it was very sharp.
Good turn.
My mom and stepdad and Gary are here. Can you guys come up? You guys showed me much love and support over the years. Gary, you too. Come on.
This is for all the critters
This is
that
for-
I put up with.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, all the.
about how the geckos got loose and
I haven't.
bent in your room.
I haven't admitted it yet.
Okay.
Till March.
Okay. Thank you for your love and support.
Yeah.
And then elected leaders often gives us the vision that's required in order for us to be inspired. And many people have inspired me. I'd like Commissioner Shore to come up and cut a ribbon, and also former Representative Elaine Neckritz. I actually got my start working on Elaine's campaign a few years ago. Yes, 2014. So go ahead.
Show it.
Oh, you guys-
Yeah, that's
Thank you very much. And many people have supported me, Green Team leaders. Is Angelina here too? You should probably recognize her.
Angelina.
Angelina, can you come up and cut a ribbon? She's the one that actually helped me make the plunge where I actually was able to resign my job that paid pretty well, and then take a lower paying job in hopes that I would somehow one day break into environmental jobs. So if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here today.
Are you sure you want to give her something sharp?
Yes. So thank you, Angelina. And then I'm really here because to serve green teams. So I'd like Gail and Judy to come up. You guys were the green team leaders when I first started going to Countryside. Or no, Leslie.
No, here.
Leslie.
You.
Leslie.
You're busy.
Here, I'll hold
switch.
this. Go ahead. And then, here, were you in on that?
I wasn't on that, yes.
Okay, good. And then the current green team leaders at Countryside, Mark and Don. And special hand to Don and Barry. They came early and helped me decorate and do all this. So. Just one. Thank you, guys. And then there's other green team leaders here too. Curtis, can you come up? And then a couple other people. Amy, you're here. Christina, come on up. Cut a ribbon. Did you wrap this one? You guys can each do one. Go ahead. Do another one together.
Democratic.
There's other green teams here. I just helped launch or reinvigorate. Sometimes we help start green teams. Sometimes we help bring a spark to a green team that's been around. John, are you here? Come on up. You're from UCE?
That's right, yes.
What's your congregation?
Yeah, University, or the Unitarian Church of Evanston, right?
Yep. Was just there a couple Sundays
That's
ago.
right, thank you.
Did I talk to you about
Amy, are you here? You were already up here. And then friends have supported me greatly over the years. Ryan and Jessica, you're filming. Ryan, come on up. Also, I'd like Dave and Melanie to come up. You're friends of mine from church. Go ahead, Ryan. Ryan is a leader in 2030 somethings at Countryside. I stepped down so he could lead, right? You're welcome.
He's still in that range, I'm sure.
And then partner organizations, we don't do this work alone. We're stronger because we work together in partnership. So there's some folks here from CCL, Wharton and Steve, come on up. Is there any other partner organizations here like OFA or, I don't, okay. I think they wanted to be here. How about you guys cut one for yourself, OFA and Sierra Club? What- Very good. Thank you. And then who here is just like, you're not just, but you're starting to be an activist. You're just thinking about getting involved. You've been involved. You've done a lot of stuff. We're here for you as well. So, Alan?
Just budding active.
Hey.
Who else wants to cut?
I think you should cut now.
Well, I
You
know,
should
but
cut the
there's
rest.
4 of them or 5 of
Well,
them.
then go ahead.
Yeah, but I mean, this is all you
So
here.
with this scissor cut, we officially together
Woo-hoo.
open up the North and West Suburban Nathan
Yeah.
Place office. Please come in. You guys can't all fit in here,
I'm gonna
but
just
take
film
your
it real
turns.
quick.
Come in and
Oh, beautiful.
see what's going on. I have what's called a Buddha board in here where you can activate it with a brush of water. And then you can see that things are not permanent, but the work that we do matters. So you can play with that. And
So the whole office suite isn't yours, it's just the one office?
yes.
I thought maybe there was conference rooms and, support
This
staff.
is shared space. So Shorewood Properties owns the whole suite. And then this is my office. And then they have smaller offices that they sublet. And then I have access to all this so I can have green teams and coalition meetings and
So you could do meetings here with small meetings, would you do it out here in this common space?
yes. There is another chair in there, but there's only 2 chairs in there. So we would be out here. So thank you very much, everybody, for coming. Mill around. There's lots of treats. Please eat them. I have a single number on the cake there because we're actually office number 1. So this is the number 1 Faith in Place office. So please have cake. Thank you so much for being here, everyone.